What's going on, you guys? It's your huggable hipster here, a very makeupless huggable hipster. I tend to, okay, this is so off topic, so just like not gaming related at all, but I tend to wear makeup for like a couple of days and then go like 5 days without wearing makeup because my skin is just a diva. And anything that I do to it for a prolonged period of time, like wearing makeup or doing this or doing that or wearing glitter, for Christ's sake, oh my god, I can't wear glitter for like a long period of time without my skin just having the need to say, get it off of. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm just not gonna wear makeup for this episode because I don't need to wear makeup for YouTube, unlike a lot of YouTubers. I think that they need to cover their face in order to be accepted. I have a facial waiting for me after I finish this video. It's the banana milk facial. Oh yes, let's see some beauty guru-esque in here. So today we're going to be reviewing a game. You know, we're going to be doing that usual thing where we get into another game review. We're going to be talking about some really touchy subjects. We're going to be getting into it. I was told by several people that it would probably be not a good idea for me to do this review, but when have I ever listened, really? So memories fade, but the pain will always be there. So let's dive into Remothered Tormented Father's review. It's going to be a little bit of a lengthy one, considering the fact that my article is like, what, 4, 5 pages? Wait, how long is this article that I wrote? 5 pages. 5 pages. You're in for a thick girl today. I already posted my written version of the article, which you guys can view down in the description below underneath articles. I have a whole section of things that you guys can find underneath there. I'm thinking of like bolding certain things because I got a complaint from someone that's saying, I can't tell what's what in your description. Honey, maybe try reading. Okay, the actual things that are underneath there so you can differentiate what's what. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm so sassy today. I'm so sorry. A gateway to happiness is only a pill away. Forget-me-nots and hypnotizing words will keep your mind in pristine condition. With Finexol, everything will be fine. Curtains close and the sanity is now covered up in the deepest part of your mind where even your subconscious dare not go. Remothered Tormented Fathers dives deep into the psychology of what it is to forget, and in accordance with PTSD, the drug Finexol, the dangers of gender reassignment, and how the cult of the Red Nuns, are more formally known as the Cristo Morente, a radical group that were used as experiments for the Phenoxyl 2.0 drug trial, were being treated. Memories fade, but the pain will always linger. Remember, you must forget, and actually this is a psychological fact. To remember certain things, you have to forget other things. Post-traumatic stress disorder is triggered by traumatic or terrifying events in one's life. PTSD is something that can plague a person's mind on a daily basis. It can make someone vulnerable to people, different situations, lights, sounds, the list goes on. In the game Remothered Tormented Fathers, this terrifying illness, those bad memories that one will have to have for the rest of their life, keep lingering over and over and over again, but with the swallow of a pill called Finexol, the bad memories go away and the good ones are here to stay. The pill Finexol will make the person forget the bad and just keep the good, but forgetting comes at a high price. Psychologically, one has to forget some things in order to remember others. The brain will prioritize things, kind of like segmenting it off, if you will, and saying, okay, this is the importance of this thing, we're going to discard the rest and not remember it, you know? So let's say you are forgetting your car keys. It's probably because you're remembering something of greater importance, which is why you forgot said car keys. Finexol is actually a real drug, believe it or not. It's used to treat bacterial infections. This pill Finexol can help you forget the bad memories in question, but it will not relieve you of the unfortunate psychological distress that comes with those memories. Now, with several things from transitioning to another gender by force to having a new drug being tested on you without your knowledge, this game really and truly delves deep into the psyche of the group versus the chaotic and selfish need of the one. So let's look into, first and foremost, our main antagonist, Richard Felton. It is originally Jennifer Richardine Felton, who was forced to take hormonal treatments ever since her father came back from the war, and he really wanted a son. So he was like, honey, you know what, let's put you under those transitioning hormonal treatments and hypnotizing therapy. Now, psychologically, what this becomes is a case of the dissociative identity disorder, where you have your main persona, you have your main personality, right? And then you have alters, which are different personalities. Back, I think, 30 some years ago, it was called multiple personality disorder. They since changed it to dissociative identity disorder. Psychologically, since this is classified as a case of dissociative identity disorder, she went under hypnotherapy, and Jennifer, in a sense, would be an alter since Richard took over as the main personality. So there's a lot to unpackage with this game. There is so much psychologically here when it comes to the character and how they are represented. I actually had so much of a difficult time writing this article because in a nutshell, you really have to be careful with how this topic is represented, and unfortunately a lot of this goes on in real life where children are actually being forced to switch to a different gender, whether it's because the parents think that it'll make it less difficult for them in the long run in their life or whatever the twist. But unless the child specifically says, hey, I feel like I am a woman trapped in a man's body, or I feel like I'm a man trapped in a woman's body, don't do anything against their own will. Yes, they may be children, but what they say goes. They are their own presence. They are their own being. They are their own individual that can make and understand what the choices that they have will impact them later on. They can understand the consequences of that choice. Maybe not fully without a parent's education. Yes, you have to have obviously a parental education or there. Parental education, that's not the right word. Parental education. Kids, especially who are teenagers, can make these choices, and that's what Jennifer was. She was a teenager for all intents and purposes, not being able to make her own decision about her body. And speaking of choice, the choice was never yours. Okay, when going into the subject of gender reassignment, it is a touchy one, and many reviewers of this game have spoken about it, whether it is for a sentence or an entire article. The reassignment of one's gender and putting it into a game treads on a very, very thin line that I think it kind of brings people to this awakening standpoint of, oh shit, this is actually going on in the real world, or oh crap, why are they putting this into a game, and then people just rampage and hate the game. Don't hate the game for the fact that they put this in, just understand that it is a touchy subject, and it's something that needs to be discussed. You see so many transgendered people put in this kind of light of being a feared character in different movies. Look, for example, Silence of the Lambs. The transgendered character, the one who says it puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. That character, it was a feared character, and that main character, Buffalo Bill, is a transgendered man who is portrayed as the evil character through his horrible past. And also how the director thought it would fit to have the story shown, while unfortunately this is a common theme to see, the misuse of transgenders in the community, which is Hollywood. This game, I feel, it doesn't do the community damage. It more or less brings light to the situation. It brings light to how unhealthy it is for the parent, on top of everything, to force reassignment onto their child. It is such a dangerous thing to do. And the reassignment of the child's gender without their express consent, like I said, is extremely dangerous. The choice was taken away from Jennifer at the time. The choice wasn't hers. And I feel that is the horrifying part in all of this. That is what we need to focus on. The fact that there are people who are virtue signaling this game based on this portion of it and going all, well, this and acting all high and mighty. There's no reason for it. There is no reason to do that when in reality, while this is a very strong part of this game, it's not the whole game in essence. You still have a lot there. You have so much there within the game that is absolutely brilliant, and it brought me back to that fun anxiety that I felt when I was a kid playing Resident Evil. We need to focus on how the child's life was taken away from her at a very young age. That's the thing that we need to focus on, not how this entire game, there are so many people who are saying that it's bad because of this part. There are so many people that are saying that there's misuse of representation of the transgender community. While I understand and while those feelings are absolutely valid, there's a lot more that meets the eye with this game. I feel like I said, they're not misrepresenting the community. They're bringing light to how awful of a situation this actually is and how it shouldn't be done and practiced. So let's go into the Red Nuns of the Unholy Order. Yes, I said it, of the Unholy Order. Listen, the nuns, oh my god, okay, this was the best part of the game. The red freaking nuns were absolutely incredible. What a character design, am I right? Listen, Cristo Morente, a group of 12, why did I say listen, like I was about to drop like a diss track or something. It's like, listen, let's get this beat going. Let's drop the diss track. Cristo Morente. Also, Dead Christ. Just want to put that out there. The death Christ. The dead Christ. No, Christ dead. Cristo is Christ. Morente is dead. So, the death of Christ? A group of 12 nuns were experimented on with the Phenoxyl Prototype 2. That's lovely, right? Ooh. And they were experimented on without their consent. Again, another example of lack of consent within this game. And they also experienced photosensitivity, which is why whenever you were completing the final kind of boss battle, it wasn't really a boss battle, it was just, you were completing the last trial, if you will, and trying to get rid of Gloria. That's why whenever you open up the blind, she has photosensitivity, because that's one of the side effects of the Phenoxyl 2.0. So the red nun that Dr. Reed encounters is Gloria, who is still a practicing red nun, and the one who keeps Mr. Felton under hypnosis. The goal of the Red Nun is very simple, to get revenge for everything that she was put through as a child, which we will see in the next review that I do coming out next week on Remothered Broken Porcelain. Also, another purpose is to kill Dr. Reed, throughout the entire game. It's just, hello, unholy slut, hello. Dr. Reed, by the way, was also a red nun, which is explained more in the second game. I think it hints at it at the end of the first game, but you really get a sense of it in the next game of the entire history of Dr. Reed, aka Lynn. And also, I just want to put this out there. I said it before, but I'll say it again. The character design is stunning. The voice acting, oh my god. The voice acting, listen, I could go on about the voice acting. It genuinely made me creeped out to the point of where I had to pause the game. I was on my computer playing this and I was hearing that. Listen, I had my binaural my binaural headset on, and it sounded like it was a monster kind of whispering to me in that ASMR texture. Oh my god, it was brilliant. Listen, I could geek out about this, okay? I love whenever good sound design is incorporated into a video game. It makes the entire experience just more immersive, and I love it so much. Please, whenever you guys get a chance, just listen to an audio clip of the Red Nun in Remothered Tormented Fathers. Not as good in Remothered Broken Porcelain, I do have to admit, but listen to an audio clip of the Red Nun in Remothered Tormented Fathers. So good. Now, I wasn't scared, but more with giddy excitement towards how I felt, as you guys can obviously see. I feel like, and I've been feeling like this for a while, I feel like horror games nowadays don't really capture me mentally as much anymore, or even physically. Like, I go all into these horror games with, really a lot of excitement, but a yawn and a steady heartbeat. I want my heartbeat to be coming out of my chest here, folks, okay? I don't want it just like, oh, I'm just walking to get my Starbucks, a calm, nice, breezy day out in the countryside. Story of the Red Nun, just as portrayed, had me enthralled, and don't even get me started on the costume design. Okay, it's fresh, it's modern, and quite frankly, eerily beautiful. Also, by the way, if you hear a loud sound downstairs, it is the compressor. Don't worry about it. Just ignore it. Actually, now that I said that, you're probably going to be focusing on that through the rest of the video. God damn. Dr. Reed looks like it's a spitting image of Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. I was half expecting Hannibal Lecter to pop out of the shades and be like, ooh, what's going on here? And also, the Acarnita moth is the same moth that was used on the cover of Silence of the Lambs and in the movie as well. It's also called the Death Head moth. I've had my share of battles with moths in my room. Some of them are actually really, really beautiful, but keep them far away from me. I don't like the sound that their wings make. This just like they make like this high-powered motorized sound, and I'm not with that. I love how there was extensive use of the themes that we see in Silence of the Lambs in this game, because classic horror films have this certain vibe to them that I feel like can't really be recaptured in a video game, and this game did that. Like, this game is that bitch. Different elements of horror that were truly, like, suspenseful and fun at the same time. The puzzles, oh my god, the mechanic. Listen, don't get me started on the puzzles. They reminded me of, like, early Resident Evil titles, okay? They were really fun and really, really good. There are some puzzles in there that are kind of tricky, but that's a whole point. So, moths are fun, but bugs in the game, not so much. So, I've given this game a really great review so far, but it's time to get into the part of this gaming sandwich that I know you guys are probably going to be like, oh good lord. Bugs in the game are normal. Okay, they're to be expected. A lot of bugs you really can't even see because they're happening in the game so minutely and so tiny that they're invisible to the human eye. It could be like the glitch of a tree. It could be like, some texture, element of the ground not showing up for like a split second. They're very, very small, minute things that you don't even notice. But when a game crashes several times on top of freezing at certain points, then it becomes a hassle. This game had some bugs that I wasn't really too pleased with. I mean, who's pleased whenever you have really visible, intrusive bugs in a game? First off, since I was playing this game on a PC, I felt like the controls were clunky. I felt like at times they really needed some cleaning up, especially whenever I would run the game like actually run in the game itself. The kind of like the graphics would stutter or freeze for a little bit, and then they would come back again, and that by that time I would be dead. Later on in the game, when I got to a point where I had to turn off the valves in the cellar to get away from Richard, aka Jennifer, because Richard was also going back into the alter personality of her original form, Jennifer. I had to avoid Jennifer at all costs, and the game would freeze at a certain point, and then she would instantly kill me right after it would freeze. So it wouldn't be a win-win situation there. I got done with it. I got through with it, obviously, like I always do, but I rebooted the game several times in order to make it work. There was just a little like things I had to maneuver with the graphics and like the settings here and there to be able to do that, but I got through it. After rebooting the game, things after that point went normally, but it was frustrating to say the least. And the other thing that I really wasn't a fan of altogether was how sensitive the AI for Richard is. I cannot tell you how frustrating it was in the first part of the game to have Richard literally hearing every footstep and every little maneuver that you made. You couldn't run or he'd hear you. You couldn't do certain movements or he'd hear you. You couldn't do something without him catching you. You were always on edge with that. And I don't know if that was intentional. If it was, then that's one thing. If it wasn't, then I feel like the AI was a little bit too sensitive. But yeah, after getting the hang of it, it was manageable. You just have to be really, really careful with how you maneuver certain things in the game. If you're on PC, that you have to be really, really careful. If you're on console, I don't know how Remothered Tormented Fathers would work on Xbox or PS5, but you guys will have to let me know if you played it on console, if it's easier to maneuver or if it's more difficult. In Broken Porcelain, it's definitely so much better to maneuver. So let's get into my final thoughts on the game. Overall, this game was amazing. There were a lot of dark truths within this game that in reality there are things going on like the forceful transitioning of the gender of children that should not be happening without their consent. Combined with the horror elements that took me back to really early Resident Evil days when I was younger. It really gave me that vibe of, oh crap, you gotta be scared at this point. You gotta be anxious at this point. I didn't realize that I could fall in love with horror all over again the way I did with this game. So I think kudos on that. Now, let's talk about the save mechanic, because the save mechanic actually reminded me of the Evil Within, as I've told a lot of you guys on Twitter. At first, I thought it was a copy until I talked with the founder and director of the Remothered series, and he informed me that their concept for the broken mirror aesthetic, for that whole mechanic, they did it way before the Evil Within. So they did it before Evil Within was ever on the market. So I just want to point that out. If any of you guys see that and you think it's a copy, it's not. They Remothered did it before Evil Within entirely. The puzzles had me ecstatic. Like I said, they had me happy. The attention to detail in them was really stunning. I love the fact that, you can go in there and you have like one item, but you have to like really think about the way you want to piece together certain things, especially with like doing distraction objects and different kinds of things to like avoid your enemies and everything. I think it's really, really thought out and thorough. Love the fact that they incorporated the save point of the mirror and the metronome together. Like the very thing that's used to hypnotize Richard is used as a save point. I love that. And also, I just want to point out as some final thoughts as well, this game is not for the weak of heart, okay? It goes into some heavy topics. The ending, it literally had me in tears. I was bawling like a baby with how much it went into, and how Gloria literally showed that someone who is evil is someone who is also tremendously hurt emotionally, and that's why they act out the way that they do. It really it mirrors life entirely, because the reason why people are so tremendously evil, I think, is because of the amount of torment and pain that they suffer as well. You know, it's because of that emotional hurt they act the way they do, and they act out of, you know, in fear and anger and mistrust. And honestly, I would recommend this game only if you are mentally strong enough to handle the topics that it delivers. It's a horror game that deals with real world issues. It deals with such, I don't know, such as this game deals with real world issues. It deals with the reassigning of a child's gender. It deals with so much. You know, you really have to prepare yourself mentally for this game. You have to prepare yourself mentally. You have to understand that just because this is a game doesn't mean that you won't be impacted by it. So mentally and emotionally prepare yourself. Everything has an impact. I don't care if it's a game, I don't care if it's a comic book, I don't care if it's a TV show or music or anything. Everything has an impact. But you guys, that was my review on Remothered Tormented Fathers. If you like my reviews, if you like my face and what I do, please be sure to hit that subscribe and the bell down below, because I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. A little bit of an update before I get going. This entire week there won't be Valhalla videos. I'm so sorry about that, but I want to be able to do a mass recording of them before I post them. And there's also a lot of videos on the back burner that I want to deliver to you guys as well before I get out more Valhalla videos, which this game is long. Holy crap. I did not anticipate how long this game is. I hope that we get it done in time for the medium. But stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.